Well, it's been 845 days, and the Hillary Clinton global blame tour is still rolling along. Hillary Clinton has delivered a speech in Selma, Alabama, declaring the United States to be in a, quote, crisis.
This is a time, my friends, when fundamental rights, civic virtue, freedom of the press, the rule of law, truth, facts, and reason are under assault. And make no mistake, we are living through a full-fledged crisis in our democracy.
What's so interesting about that is that Hillary Clinton spoke those words while standing in Selma, Alabama. There's a crisis, she said. Well, there is a crisis, and it was right in front of her. The crisis is in Selma itself. Selma, the place, not the metaphor. Every year, Democrats fly down to Selma, Alabama to posture about racism and civil rights. And every year, they ignore the fact that the actual city of Selma is collapsing. Selma was once a major industrial center in the South. Most of the factories have since closed. The population has fallen by more than a third since 1960. More than 40% of the people who live in Selma right now live in poverty, the kids. By household income, it is the 9th poorest small city in the entire United States. A 2018 report found it to be one of the most dangerous places in the country and the most dangerous in the state of Alabama. In other words, Alabama, Selma rather, is a city full of problems, real problems, the kind that Democrats used to genuinely care about. Now they've moved on. If the city's unemployment rate is high, it's just more proof that they deserve replacement by foreign workers of some kind. When Hillary Clinton visits, she isn't coming with solutions. Instead, she's telling them her own problems.
I was the first person who ran for president without the protection of the Voting Rights Act, and I will tell you it makes a really big difference. And it doesn't just make a difference in Alabama and Georgia. It made a difference in Wisconsin, where the best studies that have been done said somewhere between 40 and 80,000 people were turned away from the polls because of the color of their skin, because of their age, because of whatever excuse could be made up to stop a fellow American citizen from voting.
Richard Goodstein is an attorney. He advised Bill and Hillary Clinton, and he joins us today. Richard, thanks a lot for coming on. I think Hillary grew up by her accent, grew up right nearby, I think, Selma.
You bet.
Or suburban Chicago, whatever. But what's so interesting is you could go to the poorest city in the state, the most dangerous city in the state, a city where 42% of the kids are in poverty, and talk about your own problems. Why wouldn't you spend, why don't any of these people spend a single second trying to make Selma better?
So yesterday was all about voting rights. That's what actually people went to Selma to talk about, was about voter suppression and voting rights.
Right.
And I think her view, you could, take issue with it, is that if there were voting rights that were universal, actually there would be an address to these problems in Selma and elsewhere. And incidentally, it's not unique to Selma. I mean, Pittsburgh had a lot of jobs associated with hard industry that have gone away, too.
So have a lot of places. And Pittsburgh's actually doing fairly well. Selma, though, as far as I know, is governed by African-American Democrats. So it's not like racism is holding Selma back, at least in voting, okay? And it's complicated. There are lots of reasons for all this stuff, but no one even asked the question, why is Selma, the actual place, such a disaster? People rotate in and out of there on these posturing tours, but nobody notices that it's a disaster? Why?
I don't know that anybody doesn't notice. I think the point of gathering people, she got this International Unity Award. She was inducted into the National Voting Rights Hall of Fame. That's why she was there. I mean, Hillary could go any number of places in the country and talk about problems that are unique to that place. That happened not to be why she was invited to Selma.
But can you imagine going to a place where 40% of the kids are in poverty, and you haven't flown commercial in 25 years? I mean, you're legitimately rich. You're one of the most famous people in the world. And you complain about your problems in a city like that? Does that seem a little weird?
Well, again, I don't know that she hasn't flown commercial. I don't think you know either. The fact of the matter is, again, she's talking about problems like the problems that hit Selma all the time. She did during the campaign. Didn't work for her.
But why does no one make it better? I mean, it's a Democratic city. It's a place where every candidate goes, but the problems never get better. Why is that?
So you're suggesting, I mean, sorry, Tucker, you're suggesting that because there's what, it's a black area, or because there's a black mayor?
I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm saying that the city, it doesn't matter what color it is, it's in a lot of trouble, and it doesn't get better. And the people who stand before its population and make promises haven't improved it in 50 years. Shouldn't we call them to account at some point?
Look, obviously, that's true for any community that should be better than what we find, right? But if the suggestion, look, Donald Trump said, what do you have to lose, right? To communities just like Selma. The answer was health care, basically some concern. We know that not every Trump voter was a racist. We know that. But every racist was a Trump voter.
Well,
we know that, too.
That's not true.
Well, what evidence do you really think that
well,
that's
you have
not
an
true?
entire political party saying that you should give people jobs and college admissions and contracts based on their skin color. That's the definition of racism. Those are Democrats.
No, I don't think that's what they're saying
at all. It's the definition of racism,
well, but
actually.
They're not saying that people should get jobs.
Yes, they are.
They're saying there should be some...
They're attacking people on the basis of their race. That's what racism is, right?
Yeah.
It happens every day.
Right.
You don't notice this?
Yeah, of course, but that's not what the Democrats are saying. The Democrats are saying that people of every race should get a fair shot, not that they should be sort of leapfrogging.
No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying that certain jobs should go to people based on their skin color. That's the same thing the segregationists said. Yes, they are saying
What's
that.
job one that somebody should get because of their skin color?
Well, they're saying that a certain percentage of jobs in this or that field should go to people because of their skin color. That's the argument that the segregationists made. It's exactly the same argument. And I'm just saying, whatever. I'm not even arguing that. I'm just saying someone should care about Selma being, or lots of these cities, as you rightly point out.
Yeah, I don't think people disagree that Selma is a place that needs attention.
Yes.
And I would think Hillary would say that she's doing what she can to make sure it gets the attention.
I hope she does, or someone does.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Richard, thank you very much.
Of course, thanks.
Free speech is under attack on college campuses. Apparently, there's a new executive order that will